Either way, what happened was pretty much, you know, we were homeless. Like, we didn't have anywhere to stay.
Okay, can you guys just make sure you're not hurting each other, please? Okay, be careful, be gentle. I don't even think they were listening to a single word that I just said, but here we are with Pete himself. You guys have not seen Pete the past few months. He's been letting himself go.
No, I haven't. I looked good. Nisi had a problem with how I was looking.
No. It was the combination. He was letting his hair grow out while also letting his beard and mustache just like wolf. Like he looked like Wolverine. You're smiling because you know it's true.
It wasn't that bad. And I shaved everything off because I was tired of Nisi complaining, so.
We gotta check on one of the kids. But let's just get into where we are, how we got here, why we are here.
As most of you guys probably know, we are from San Diego, California.
I was born and raised in San Diego. Pete was stationed in San Diego when he was in the military. So we've lived in California for the past 2 years with our family, and then housing prices just got a little bit crazy. And we were like, you know what, let's move somewhere where we're able to get what we want to give to our kids for a reasonable price.
So that's how we came across Charlotte, North Carolina. We actually were like debating on like New Jersey, Texas, and Charlotte. Texas, obviously, because you get like really big homes for reasonable prices. New Jersey was a little bit more expensive, but the only reason New Jersey was an option is because that's where my side of the family's from.
That's where you're from.
Yeah. And then we came across Charlotte because New Jersey was so expensive that we were looking for like other areas on the East Coast we could like get a big home for and still like be in commuting distance to my family in New Jersey.
Prior to moving, we heard so many good things about Charlotte. Everybody was like, oh, Charlotte's like the next Atlanta. It's up and coming. It's like the city to be in. And so we felt really confident just taking like a leap of faith and moving to Charlotte without ever being there. We went through a rental company. We found like a home that we really loved and we're like, okay, like we're just gonna like do this.
Our goal was to rent there for like a year, and during that year we could actually like commute to New Jersey to like look for homes that we want to buy. We didn't want to like fly out and make like a rush decision on buying a home in New Jersey without really seeing it. So that's why we were like, let's just move to the East Coast for like a year. And in Charlotte, they had like really good prices. The home we were supposed to get was like a 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
5 bedrooms.
Oh, 5-bedroom, 2-bath, huge backyard.
3 bathrooms.
3 bathrooms, sorry. It was only like, what, $2,800 a month? So it was like, that's a lot, but it was like, it was for us, we were paying over $3,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment in San Diego.
Yeah. We made it work with the 2-bedroom that we were in. If you hear Evie in the background.
She's playing.
We made it work with the 2-bedroom that we were in. We were really fortunate to have the layout that we had that had massive walk-in closets that made it so that all 7 of us could fit in a 2-bedroom. If you wanted a 3-bedroom, you were looking at least at like $4,500.
Yeah, it was like high 4,000s.
And that was for an apartment, and like to rent a home in San Diego, you're talking about like closer to 5,000, and then to buy a home is also a completely different story in San Diego. So we just felt like the best option was, gotta go check on it. That's Lena. That's basically what kind of pushed us towards, you know, making that leap, and we got everything situated to move cross country. We finalized everything with the rental company. We shipped our everything that we owned in pods across the country. We bought our plane tickets. We did everything. And then we hopped on a flight, all 7 of us. And if you don't know, we also have 2 cats. So both of us, our 5 kids, and our 2 cats hauled ass across the country.
Yeah, it was a lot. The rental company, we thought was gonna be like where we were. Like we were at an apartment complex and they did things like very professionally. Like it was like, if you need something, you just call the leasing office and then they'll get right back to you.
We've always had a very positive like running experience with everywhere that we've rented at, like through like companies. So we went through a company that rented homes and we were like, okay, like this seems good. We love the home. We saw the pictures and like that was that. We applied for it, we got it. But we are not in North Carolina, so if that tells you anything.
I remember we flew there, we got to North Carolina, and immediately it was kind of like, all right, like, this is different. Like, it's a lot. Obviously, it's different. I'm from the East Coast originally, so like I already kind of expected it.
On the drive over there, we kind of were just like, oh my gosh, like, did we really just do this? Like, we've never been here, and we were just kind of like, you know, taking in Charlotte for the first time, and we had obviously done research, like, safe places, not safe places, all like, just we familiarized ourselves with Charlotte, but being there is a completely different thing. We had been traveling for, I think, like 12 hours at that point, because we took like a red eye, and then we had a layover, and then we finally got like the rental car. So like we had been traveling for like 12 hours. Our cats had been in carriers for 12 hours, and it was just, we felt like very like ready to just like get in the home and just like get settled and establish like the home that we've been like, we showed the kids like the pictures, and we're like, this is gonna be your room, this is gonna be their room, this is where we're gonna put like your guys' toys. And so everybody was super excited to move in.
Once we got to like the community, we were like, oh, like this is nice, like it's really nice.
Yeah,
but then,
it was a really like cute, quaint, hello.
What's that? Okay, so the rental company's name was Invitation Home.
Gonna put them on blast real quick.
Yeah, people have probably heard about them. They have a lot of really negative reviews online. We took them with a grain of salt because our apartment complex had really negative reviews on Google, and our apartment complex was amazing. So that's why we were just like, all right, like Invitation Homes has really bad like reviews, but they're also a really large rental company. So like I'm sure like
nationwide, yeah.
It's more likely that people have a bad experience and post their review versus somebody having a okay or good experience and not posting their reviews.
Yeah.
So that's why we were just kind of like, all right, whatever.
I'm trying to like, how do I like, we deep dive into it? Because just imagine us like driving. So we're driving in our rental, and we're just like, oh my gosh, like this is where we're gonna live. Like this is our home now. Like, oh my gosh. And the kids are like, oh, like this is.
And we
this
finally,
Charlotte? Like,
after
oh,
traveling for so long, finally pulled up to the home.
As we pulled into the driveway, I like noticed that there was a lot of cobwebs like in the corner of like where the garage door was. I feel like when you're, you know, a company, like presentation and how you present yourself like is like very like essential.
She's pretty bougie, by the way. So
whatever. So I'm just like, okay, like if I were the company and somebody was moving in, like I'd make sure everything was like spotless. So it's like first impression. So I was like, okay, like I see a cobweb, but whatever, cobwebs can, you know, pop up fairly quickly. So then we get out the car, we get all the kids together, and then we open up the door, and then
somebody popped out. No, we opened up the door, and no, it was like, at first glance, it wasn't like terrible, but like there was like very noticeable like things that popped out. First, I thought it reeked of cigarettes. Like in my opinion, I thought it reeked of cigarettes. Like you could tell like there was like smokers living in the home because it just reeked of smoke. Like I lived with like a smoker for a long time, so like I know like that smell and like how it just lingers, and like I could just smell like it, the whole place reeked of it.
And then I noticed the baseboards, and they like had like, they kind of looked like mold. Like it just looked like they had like a black,
yeah,
like
a black
I don't
mold.
know what it was, but like the baseboards had like
Yeah.
black on it. Like it was not a reflection of anything that we had seen in the pictures. I know we probably should have asked for a virtual tour in like hindsight, but
Yeah.
like we saw pictures and we assumed that like we'd be getting obviously like the pictures, and we trusted the company because
Yeah.
we obviously, as we said, but we noticed like the baseboards, and then it reeked of cigarettes, and then like we walked through, literally just walking from like the door to like the kitchen and living room, we both walked into like 2 or 3 spider webs.
It looked like the home was like vacant for like, they said it was vacant for like 2 weeks, but I would say it was probably vacant for like a couple months. There was like dead bugs all along like the carpets to the baseboards, like in between those cracks, like dead bugs everywhere. There was like spider webs all over the place. Plus they had like a really big dog that was scratching the ground.
Everything was scratched up,
Like, yeah.
the grounds were scratched up, the walls had like scratch marks on them. That isn't even the worst part. There's 2 worst parts.
Whoa.
I'm gonna say the upstairs part first. So we we're like, okay, like we were overwhelmed, but we're like, let's just go upstairs and see like the upstairs. And we were looking around the upstairs and we are like, okay, this isn't clean, this isn't clean, this isn't clean. And then we go into the master bedroom and we're looking at the closet. And then we open the door to the closet and there's a box in the closet that says, do not touch.
Yeah, it was from like a previous resident. I guess they left something there. Maybe they had a bad experience with the company too, so they were just trying to be like assholes and leave something there. But like it was just creepy. Like,
no, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm not touching that. He's not touching that. I'm not like, I don't know if that's like a dead animal. I don't know if that's like poop, like a surprise. I don't know if that's something creepy.
It was just,
like
I think it just showed that like nobody walked through the home to like make sure like everything was clean and like ready. And like the backyard was, I mean, we could just go over things. Like the backyard was like super overgrown. Like they had no landscapers for like months out there. Everything was super overgrown. The home was in bad condition. The worst part was there was like animal poop in the foyer.
We had missed it walking in the first time, but when we like came back downstairs and we're like, okay, because mind you, we didn't have any of our furniture at this time. So our plan was to sleep on the ground of our new home. And upon walking through it, where there's like spider webs, dead bugs, animal feces, which we don't even know like if that was like some stray animal that just like found its way inside the house, or if it was like the previous owner just like not giving an F.
The animal poop was a lot because we didn't know it was there because it was definitely a smaller animal. But once we like
a raccoon.
Yeah, like we didn't know what it was, but that's why like I was scared to like go through the house because I was like, there could be like an animal in the home. You don't feel comfortable like sleeping here or like let alone like, you know, living in the home before it gets properly like cleaned, which we had every intention of staying there as long as they properly cleaned the home.
Yeah, we planned on like sleeping on the ground and we planned for it to be clean, so we're like, whatever, we'll sleep on the ground. But with animal feces and then the state that it was in, and then finding like, I don't think anybody wants to like move into the place that they're about to call home, especially with their kids, and see animal feces or like a very sketchy box. Our kids are all over the ground, and like what if they found the poop before us?
What sucked was that we moved in on a Sunday
and then
it was a holiday weekend.
Labor Day.
It was Labor Day weekend.
Yeah,
so
right? Labor Day? Or Memorial Day? Or Veterans Day?
Memorial Day weekend. Every single cleaning company was closed we moved in Sunday during the day, so they were already closed. And then Monday was Memorial Day, so they were closed then. So that means we couldn't get it until Tuesday.
And then we had called the company, Invitation Homes, and nobody was answering. The person that literally texted us the code to get into the home because they had one of those lock pads just stopped answering as soon as like we tried calling her and we were like leaving messages. It was all him, but he was like leaving messages, calling, like no answer. He was emailing, no answer. So it was like, okay, like what are we gonna do? We're in a home that we're supposed to be staying in, but it is like not in an okay state for us to sleep on the ground with our kids. We don't have any cleaning supplies, anything, any furniture. And the company that we're running from is not even like answering us.
We were so overwhelmed with everything that we were just like...
This is especially after traveling for 12 hours, mind you. So the kids hadn't eaten, the cats hadn't had a litter box or eaten or anything, and we haven't like slept. It was just, we were so tired.
We decided that we were just gonna, well, it was mostly you, but we were like, we just decided that we were gonna get a hotel.
We decided that we were going to get a hotel because we didn't feel comfortable being there, especially with our kids.
Yes.
And we ended up staying in the hotel. Oh, let's not mention that like we couldn't even check into the hotel for like another 3 hours or 4 hours after we left the home.
Because check-in time was 4 p.m. We left around like 12 to get to the
We left the home. Yeah, we left the home to go to the hotel at 12, and then we realized check-in wasn't until 4. They didn't have early check-in, and so all the kids were like in the car, like sleeping. They were so tired. They were complaining about being hot because it was like 100 degrees, and we were dressed for like cold airplane weather.
Yeah.
We only had what we had in our suitcase. We were exhausted because me and Pete didn't sleep on the flights because we were dealing with all the kids. So we were just like in a mall parking lot, like trying like to hold on to like sanity and taking like naps, and we didn't have our phone charger because we lost it. We lost the laptop. We lost our laptop too.
Yeah, we left it in the airport in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, that was our layover. But so yeah, that was just like, we finally got into the hotel and then we got settled in, and then Pete continued to call people.
Yeah, I was calling everybody. I was emailing everybody nonstop. And it was really like a ghost town. Like nobody was answering. Nobody was even like nobody texted back, emailed back, called back. And this was over the course of like a week.
Yeah, like he had called everybody like on Sunday, and then on Monday he even tried calling people, but we were like, okay, like it could just be the long weekend, like whatever, like we'll just, you know, give them the benefit of the doubt and, you know, like call on Tuesday. And then Tuesday came around and he continued calling people and nobody was answering. Or people started answering, but then they were like, okay, like we'll have to talk to somebody and then call you back. And we'd wait and nobody would call back. And then that was literally, we were in the hotel for like a week and a half trying to call anybody from the company. Like we called the headquarters, corporate, like nobody. Everybody was just like, we'll have to get back to you. Like we'll have to call you back.
Well, what was annoying was that some people were like, oh, like we're just gonna we'll just send out like a cleaning crew to just like pick up the animal poop and then just like pretty much just like do the bare minimum and then you guys would be good. And we were like,
no, like you're going to like make up for this inconvenience that you caused us. Like it's not just like oh, okay, like just clean and then like brush it under the rug. Like we literally had to pay for the hotel out of our like pockets. We literally like paid for a home that was supposed to be professionally cleaned as they outlined before we moved in, and it was not professionally cleaned. So we wanted to be compensated for the inconvenience as well. I was like crying to my like family this entire time. And one of my family members had actually told Pete to like look up on like LinkedIn, like Invitation Homes, like
like the CEO, CFO, like the operating managers, everything like that. So I winded up going on my LinkedIn and messaging, reaching out to like everybody I could find that had a higher position in Invitation Homes. And then eventually somebody reached back out to me, not over LinkedIn, but they said that they had received my message over LinkedIn. So I had left my information, so they had called me. And that's when I actually got in contact with somebody with some authoritative like power. So once the regional manager for like from Florida up to North Carolina reached out to me. She was like super helpful. It was just like, I can't believe like this happened. What do you guys want to do to make this right? And we were just like, kind of like, all right, like we just don't want to work with you guys, like because you guys don't do business like the way we would want to be done. Like you guys are very like handled the situation poorly.
Our lease was for 18 months, and we kind of like, when we were trying to figure out what to do, we were like, do we really want to be dealing with a company that operates like this for 18 months? Like we don't know what's going to pop up over those 18 months, and if that's like the kind of response that we get, like do we want to risk being stuck with that? So that's ultimately why we ended up just saying like we want our money back and we want to be refunded for like the hotels and everything that came out of pocket. He was also trying to like file a lawsuit, like get like a lawyer involved.
That's only because they weren't responding. Like once they responded, we were pretty cordial about everything. Like it's not. Anyway, they winded up refunding us most of what we paid. Our security deposit, our first month's rent, and everything they should have done, in my opinion.
Yeah, they refunded us the bare minimum of
but that's why we didn't.
They should have.
We were just like, okay, like let's just cut ties with them and be done. Like,
after all of that happened, it kind of just like left us with like, okay, like are we gonna house hunt in a city, like from a hotel room, like on a time crunch, like hotel bills are only like stacking up, and so are like ordering out.
It sucked too because we were like, after going from such a nice apartment, like our apartment was like, if you guys watch our other videos, you'll see like our apartment was like very updated. It was like spacious, you know, always clean. So go into a home that, you know, was like pretty dirty. We wanted to be in a nice hotel. So we were in a hotel that was
Oh my gosh. I completely forgot.
People are gonna laugh at you for that.
Oh my gosh.
But she's not from the East Coast, so she's not used to like big bugs like that.
There was cockroaches in our hotel. I completely forgot about that. Oh my gosh, I'm traumatized all over again.
First we were staying at the DoubleTree by Hilton in South Park, which was supposed to be like one of the nicer hotels in the Charlotte like metro area. Like it was supposed to be like one of the nicer ones. And we go into the first room and it's like filled with ants everywhere. Like they're just crawling everywhere. So we were just like, all right, like let's move rooms. We moved the rooms to another floor.
And we were there for like I think like a week before we saw something.
Yeah. And they were pretty like husky cockroaches. Those things were like pretty big.
Those were bad, and it literally chased me out the room. I had never really seen a cockroach in my life. So okay, hold on. How I found it. We had our cats in the hotel room with us, and I saw the cats trying to get something, and I was like, okay, we're in a hotel room, like what are you staring at under the door and like trying to get? And they were both so zoned in. And I forget, you weren't there at the time. I think you had like gone to the lobby for something, but I was like, okay, something is there. I'm not gonna look.
I went into the bathroom and I couldn't see anything, so I was like looking and everything, but like she made it seem like it was like a huge bug in there. So I was like skeptical about like going in there myself, and our cat is like staring under it too, kind of like not approaching it. So I was like, all right, like if he's not going towards it, it might be like something pretty big. So I'm like messing around in there, and then all of a sudden like I put my phone to like record behind the door, and then I look at the recording and I see like it on it. So I'm like, oh, like this is like a really big roach underneath of the door. So I actually go into the bathroom and I open it up and I see how big it is, and it's probably like that big, like head to back of its like shell is probably like that big.
We're gonna take a commercial break to show the actual video.
Could be under the towel. See. Holy shit. That's a fucking cockroach. No way, dude.
After that, we trapped it in the bathroom, where we thought we trapped it in the bathroom. And then he went down to talk to them in the lobby about it, and then we were gonna check out the next morning, because I believe this happened at night. And then we woke up in the morning. I think he went to the bathroom and he's like, bro, like it's not in there. And I was like, what do you mean it's not in there? And then he went to go down to the lobby to check out, and it was me with the kids. And then all of a sudden I see one of our cats staring at something next to the bed, and I was like, no, please tell me no. And then I go and I look, and the cockroach is right there, and I'm like freaking out. And then the cat is messing with the cockroach. He wasn't there. The cat was messing with the cockroach. The cockroach got scared. I didn't know that cockroaches like lift their body and then run. And then I just see the cockroach start sprinting towards Evie's pack and play where she is. And I don't know if they can like climb vertical or whatever. So I started freaking out. I sprinted, grabbed Evie out, and then I went and ran out into like the living area in the hotel room. And then the cat chased the cockroach again, and then the cockroach turns around and then starts hauling ass towards me and the kids. And then Pete comes back from the lobby and he sees me and the kids standing in the hallway, because I was like, I'm not going back in there. Like that cockroach, I'm not going back in there.
She's dramatic. But yeah, it was a big roach.
Then we went to another hotel. So we were kind of just faced with like, okay, like where are we gonna go from here? Like, are we just gonna go back to San Diego but like have nothing to go back to? Like our stuff is already like here in Charlotte. Are we just gonna try finding a home on such a like time crunch and just live in hotel rooms in the meantime? Or are we going to drive up to his family in New Jersey just to kind of recuperate while we have like some kind of support and familiarity?
It was just kind of like
figure everything out.
Yeah, it was kind of just like we were really over Charlotte. Like it was just felt like every experience we had in Charlotte was was a bad experience. I hadn't seen my family in probably 3 years before that. And
as you
3 years before that, and that was only for like a couple days that we saw them. So before that had been years prior. They had never met all of the kids pretty much. Like that was the first time they really met all of our kids.
It was just like we really, after everything, kind of just like going through everything and being somewhere where we had like no help and like no familiarity.
Yeah.
Where we had like no familiarity, we kind of just like wanted to at least go somewhere where we had any, like some kind of just.
Yeah.
We drove 9 hours and impulsively decided to
goodness.
drive at midnight.
We didn't get to the Residence Inn until what, like 10 something? Because we kept stopping.
Like 11.
Yeah, because
we kept falling asleep. We were like, oh, like we'll be fine. We're not going to fall asleep. Like we're wide awake. We were good for like the first 5 hours, and then the last 4 hours were so painful because both of us were just like.
We stopped at like 3 different gas stations and took like a 30-minute nap, like an hour nap.
It was bad.
I just drank a Red Bull and I was like, all right, I'm not going to sing out. And we were still like trading off to finish it. But like it got to a point where we were just like, all right, we just got to tank this out.
So we were in the Residence Inn for, I think like a week. But that Residence Inn, particularly because of where Pete's mom lives, is really expensive. And within that week, we spent how much money?
Probably like $1,400
on just the hotel room, and we like still like were waiting for the company to send us the check to refund us for everything. And
plus, we still had a rental car.
We still had the rental car, and so it was just like a lot. And we were like, okay, like we're still trying to figure out, like we're trying to house hunt. We're trying to figure out what our next like step is, and we're like we can't afford to spend that much on like a hotel.
Our aunt has a timeshare in Virginia Beach, so she was like, why don't you guys just stay down there, take like a small vacation in Virginia Beach.
The timeshare didn't have any availability in like hotels that were more local to New Jersey, which is kind of annoying, but we were just like, okay, like if that's where we can go so that we at least get like a week of not having to worry about like a hotel payment in like a nice place.
And by this time we had already decided Charlotte was kind of out of the option now, because we were like, let's just find a place in New Jersey. So we were house hunting in New Jersey to buy, but also looking for apartments to rent.
Yeah.
The problem is that renting in South Jersey is super difficult, and the housing market is super inflated at the time where we were looking. It still is now, but so we really couldn't find a home either for like a decent price because we were using a VA loan, and also renting in South Jersey sucks.
Especially with our standards.
Yeah. We went down to Virginia Beach. We chilled there.
We did not chill. We were stressed the entire
time. We were stressed because we were like, we kind of decided, we were like, let's just go to Texas.
Because that's ultimately where we had wanted to go in the first place, because we were like, look at how big of homes you can get for so cheap, and we're like, whatever, like, and I know a handful of like family friends who've all relocated to Texas and like loved their life in Texas. So we were like originally supposed to go there, but when we were like, our goal was to buy a home in New Jersey, so we were like, okay, like North Carolina makes sense, because if we want to buy a home in New Jersey, Texas really doesn't make that much sense.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided against Texas, but like in Virginia we were like, maybe we should just like move to Texas, but then obviously that goes into the whole like, we've never been to the parts of Texas that we're looking at.
We were scared of having another like Charlotte incident,
and we have like 5 kids with us, so it's like, like maybe if it was just like me and him, like we'd be like, all right, let's go for it again. But when you have like 5 kids to lug around and 2 cats, it's not as easy to just make impulsive decisions, because like it's not only affecting us, it's affecting like our kids. So when we had went to Virginia, it was because we had not only our pods delivered to Charlotte, we also had my first car delivered to Charlotte too, and
huge boxes.
4 huge boxes of clothes that didn't fit into the pods or the car. So when we had left Charlotte and drove up to New Jersey, we left my car and we took a rental car that fits all of us. So we left the car in the hotel parking lot, and then when we stayed in Virginia, we drove down to Charlotte, which is like another 5-hour drive. It's 5 hours from New Jersey to Virginia, and then 5 hours from Virginia to Charlotte. And we drove down to Charlotte to ship out the car from Charlotte to New Jersey, because that's when we had decided that we were gonna like stay in New Jersey. And we intended on like just doing it like within like a day, like driving down from Virginia Beach, shipping out the car that day, and then coming right back up. But we missed,
the storage place was closed by the time we went down to, we missed it by like 10 minutes. Like it closed at 9, we got there at like 9:10.
So we couldn't access the 4
The
huge
unit,
boxes that we had gotten delivered, all the clothes that we had shipped. They were in the storage unit. We couldn't access those, and we were supposed to put those in the car so that we could ship the car from Charlotte to New Jersey. And we like were kind of like, we don't want to spend even more money on like a hotel, but like what are we supposed to do? We have all 5 of our kids, like, and we ended up,
so we were gonna sleep in the car in the hotel parking lot. But then we were just like, you know what, let's just get it, because it was already midnight, and if we were to pay for a hotel night, it was like you sleep there until 10 a.m. the next day.
and that's when checkout is.
Yeah, and it was like the rates were like $250 for a night, so it doesn't sound like a lot, but after staying in hotels for like the past month almost, it was like a lot.
Yeah.
So we were just like, whatever, we'll just do it, because we didn't want to be sleeping in a car. We only stayed in Virginia Beach for like 5 days.
It was a week, I thought.
A week. So then we went back to New Jersey afterwards, and I had told my family we're going to Texas. And mind you, my family's super excited because, again, they hadn't seen our kids for like years. Some of them had never even met them. So they were super excited. And then my mom was like, why don't you just stay with us versus like going to Texas? Because that was what we said we were going to do, was go to Texas. And then we were scared because we were like, we really exhausted a lot of our money moving to Charlotte and then dealing with all the hotels and everything. And then the money they did refund us, we needed that for either a down payment or a security deposit, first month's rent, and everything else that we had to pay.
But here's the catch. I'm really grateful that like we stayed with your mom. But in his mom's house is his mom, his dad, his brother, 2 of his brothers, and his sister at least. So
and
there's at
2
least
dogs.
and then 2
3
dogs,
cats.
3 cats. So there's at least 5 people there. But there can be up to like, I'd say like 7 people living there at a time. And there's 3 bedrooms.
And 1 bathroom.
All 7 of us plus the 2 cats were in 1 room.
I had been living on my own since I was 18. She had been living on her own since you were 19, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much for the past 7-8 years, we had been living on our own.
And that was the first time that I feel like he had lived with his family since he was a kid. And he's obviously a much different person now.
So it's like everything was like weird, but
it was a
but
lot.
we were super grateful at the fact that it was even an option for us.
We ended up staying with them for a month.
But it was pretty rough.
During all of this, I feel like what was even harder, like mentally, was knowing that like how much like change we were putting our kids through, because our kids have had the most sheltered and consistent life up until the past couple months, where they had like the familiarity of like our home, our community, family, and then like never being in a car because we were such homebodies. So going from that to all of a sudden being in a random city with no family and not even in like the house that we had like showed them, they didn't really understand, and they were sitting in the car for hours at a time from Charlotte to New Jersey, 9 hours from New Jersey to Virginia Beach was 5 hours, from Virginia to Charlotte 5 hours, back 5 hours, and then another 5. It was just so much driving, and I feel like it was super like, I had so much guilt for putting our kids through all of
That's
this.
why we also decided to stay with my family, because it was just like a settle down period where it was like my family, our kids had a really good time with my family, because like they're all like younger, they're really active playing with the kids, so like they had never really been with people who like play with them a lot, so they were just like they had a really good time.
They really enjoyed staying with Pete's family, and I mean, it was nice for them to be able to establish relationships with them after like, you know, only seeing them and meeting them over like FaceTime for so many years.
Yeah.
After have stayed with like Pete's mom and Pete's family for like how long, and then like being through everything, I kind of started getting homesick in the sense where like I was born and raised in the same like city my entire life. Like this was the biggest change that I ever had to do, and I was super confident going into it, but then as things started going wrong, like I was just like, I want familiarity. So I was like, I want to go back to San Diego, and like Pete understood that. He's like, yeah, like obviously New Jersey is nothing like San Diego. And so we started entertaining the idea of going back to San Diego, but obviously San Diego, the reason why we left it is because it's so expensive. But I was just like, I really don't care. I really don't care at this point. I just want to be back where like we're comfortable, where like we're familiar with, so that all of this could just be over. And literally like last minute we found a place.
Yeah. It was a nice place in an area where I went to high school at. And so I wasn't like, well, close to where I went to high school at. So we're happy. We found a place. It definitely, you know, meets our standards a little bit. But
a little bit.
We're getting there. I feel like we're just still adjusting. Like
we still don't have our furniture. We've been moved in, I think, almost 2 weeks now. We're just shy of 2 weeks, and
we get our furniture Monday.
We've been waiting for our furniture, and it is finally gonna be here on Monday. So in the meantime, we've literally been living off of, the kids have been sleeping. 3 of them have been sleeping on an air mattress. 1 has been sleeping.
My back hurts so bad. We've been sleeping on the ground for the past like. Because we were doing it even in, we were on the air mattress at my mom's, but we were sleeping I've been sleeping on the ground, we've been sleeping on the ground for the past like 2 weeks pretty much.
So we've had 3 kids on the air mattress, me, Pete, and Talia on the ground. And then luckily, before we left, I convinced Pete, I said that I wanted to bring the pack and play, one of the extra pack and plays that my grandma had. And we brought it with us, like, through the airport and everything, and that has been coming in clutch with all the hotel stays and staying with his family, and even here. So Evie's been in the pack and play. We had our camera the entire time, but we started recording, and then I think it just progressively got worse and worse, and we kind of just were like so flustered.
Yeah.
We were just so flustered. So we were supposed to record, but we stopped recording, and yeah. But we want to obviously get back into it, because obviously that was like a big chunk of our life that like was a very drastic change, and now we are in a completely like different state, different side of the country, under completely different circumstances, as a family of 7, and
it's a lot, and it's gonna be a lot.
It is. We're finally gonna get all of our stuff on Monday, so we'll be able to kind of take you guys along with us as we like try like decorating and putting everything together. I really don't think we're gonna have enough space in this home as we did in our other home, because we have so much stuff.
Yeah.
But we have finally started getting settled on this new chapter of our lives, and now I feel like we have just like this newfound like motivation of just sharing all of this change that we've gone through.
And here's Evie. Say hi, Evie. Evie is 8 months old now. She sucks her thumb. She yells if she doesn't like something. And she's stirring her teeth. Ow. She said enough of you. Oh, mommy.
You guys can expect to see a lot more of our faces now. I hope you guys learned something. Comment something that you learned from this video, because you can learn from our mistakes. I know there was a lot of them.
We're here now, so
everything happens for a reason.
thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys for watching and listening to this all the way through.
See you guys next time.